Hey guys, thanks for joining me in the webinar. I hope you guys can hear my voice loud and clear. Can everybody hear my voice loud and clear? Go ahead and drop me a one on the question box if you can one more time so I know you guys can hear me. Perfect. Now, today's topic is, of course, how to start a podcast in within a day. Now, a lot of people feel that you need months and months and months of planning to start a podcast, but to be really honest, that's not true. I'm going to show you how you can actually get started in just one day. Okay, and I'm Satish and Gaire from Dallas, Texas, on behalf of Pod Valley. Now let's go and take a look. So, how to start a podcast in one day. Now, disclosures, right? Now, what I'm about to teach you today, of course, it doesn't mean I'm going to teach you everything that there is to learn about podcasting. My goal in the next 20 30 minutes is to help you start a basic podcast, and we can go from there. Okay, so just as a disclosure, there are things to make your podcast better, but you have to get started somewhere. Okay, now what is podcasting and why should you start one today or in 2018 and going forward? Now, basically, a podcast is basically an audio on demand show. So basically, think of podcast as a live radio. Okay, think of it as live radio that or FM radio, but instead, it's on demand. People listen to podcast on their way to work commute, while they're on their toilet, or when they're about to go to bed, right? So it depends. So when people listen to your podcast, they pretty much invite you to their personal space. So you have to make sure that you take, you understand that uh, that people are inviting you to their personal space, and be gentle, be kind, and use your time, properly. Okay. Now, why should you be starting a podcast? Number one, okay, radio, the FM, AM, they are going out of business. Okay, that is the fact. In about 15 to probably early 15 to 20 years, probably 10 years, radio is going out. Why? Because think about it, these days people are listening to things on demand, right? For example, when you want to listen to music, do you tune into your a local FM, or do you open up Spotify, right? You open up iTunes, you want to listen to what you want to listen to when you want, right? So similarly, it's the same concept. So it's an on-demand audio that people can listen to on their computer while they're at work, from their phone, from their iPods, for any iPhones, Android, pretty much any phone. Just keep that in mind, okay? Now, the reason you should start one is because, number one, these days you want to be personal with your audience. So let's say you own a business, or you own some sort of marketing agency. The reason you should have podcasts is because that way your audience, your customers, your potential lead gets to learn about you in personal level. Because on a podcast, usually, normally, you're speaking to people in a personal level. So they're gonna become your fans, your customers. So next time they think about your products, let's say you sell dog food, right? And you have a podcast about pets and how to take care of them. When your listeners, next time have to get a pet food, or pet related items, they're gonna think about you because they think of you as your friend. Got it? Now, these days, on top of that, even businesses, for example, dentists, doctors, anesthesiologists, real estate agents, they're actually starting to have a podcast as well. Why? Because it makes them different. Okay, it makes them different, and they get to be on one with their potential customers. Okay. Now, here's what you need to get started. Now, first, number one, we're going to go ahead and talk about podcast niche, show name. We're going to talk about microphones. We're going to talk about recording software. We're also going to talk about cover art and jingle. And finally, we're going to talk about podcast hosting. And after that, I'm going to give you a direction where you should be going on if you want to if you want to learn how to monetize your podcast, and that's going to be the Pod Valley Facebook group. I'll talk about that at the end as well. Now, number one, no, not number one, I'm sorry. Now, don't make it difficult, guys. A lot of podcasters, a lot of wannabe podcasters, they'll tell you you have to go through hoops and loops. Please don't listen to them, okay? I'm telling you because you're my friend, you're my customer, you guys, are on my YouTube channel or listening to me on the podcast or on the webinar. Please, for God's sake, don't make it difficult because a lot of podcasters, once they have gotten started, or the one that called themselves podcast guru, they want to make it difficult for you. Okay, they want to make it difficult for you. So please don't listen to them when they tell you, hey, you have to do this, you have to get this expensive mic, hit this and that. Shut up. I'm going to tell you step by step today, simple methods that you can get started, okay, in just one day. Now, first of all, now before starting, any business, anything like that, similarly with podcasting, you need to decide on a name and a niche. Now, what is a niche? Niche is pretty much what is your topic, what is your subtopic that you want to talk about. Now, how do you decide that, right? Number one way to do that is, you can just here's what I usually tell people, okay? You can pretty much do whatever you want, but make sure that you have enough knowledge, okay, enough knowledge, because and you're actually passionate about it, because if you're not passionate about it, you're going to give it up in about a month or two. That's simple as it goes. If you're not passionate about it, you're going to give it up, because think about it, okay? So for example, a lot of podcasters in blogging niche, or talking, doing interviews and so on and so on, they know there is money in that and they get started. But here's what happens, okay? They run out of ideas, they're not passionate about it, and they give up. It's going to happen in a couple of months for sure. So think of it like this. So make a list. Okay, here's what I want you to do. When you have a time, make a list, get a piece of paper out and pen out, and write down 10 things. That's right, 10 things that you are good at. For example, it could be golf, it could be blogging, it could be public speaking, it could be, it could be travel. Okay, it could be anything. Write down 10 things. Okay, out of those 10 things, pick five. Okay, pick five. And now from those five, I want you to see if you can find a subtopic, because here's the thing. If you're able to find a laser good subtopic, then you're gonna find a lot of audience who are gonna be passionate just like you in that topic. For example, me and Nikesh, my coworker, we have a podcast on on marketing. We talk about how to generate leads, how to do Facebook ad pixels, and so on and so on. Now, why haven't we given up after 2 years? Because we're passionate about it, and this is what we do for a living. Running advertisement, getting leads, that's our blood and sweat. We do this every single day, and we love to talk about it. So we haven't given up because we love doing a podcast about that topic. So keep that in mind, okay? So number one thing is to make sure you do something that you're passionate about, okay? Now you're thinking, what am I passionate about? How do I figure that out? Again, like I said, actually sit down somewhere, write down 10 things, okay? 10 things. It might take you, a whole day sometimes. Take your time, because this is something that you're going to have to commit to some, a long time, at least 6 months to 1 year, if you want to generate, or some sort of residual income from your podcast. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now, on top of that, before you go and confirm your name, I want you to do this. Okay, a lot of people don't do this, but I want you to do this. Okay, I'm gonna go to not Amazon. Go to Google. Make sure that you actually search up what your podcast is, so that way you're not infringing, you're not violating any copyright, trademarks, and also you're not clashing with another podcast. For example, pet lovers. Okay, so I don't see much, or search it on iTunes. If you don't find one, go ahead. Now you're telling me now, there is a podcast, that has the same that you want to get started with, and you feel like you can do better than them. go right ahead. As long as it's not trademarked, go right ahead. If you think you can make it better, why not, right? Why not? That's what you're supposed to do. Now, keep that in mind. Okay. Now, lastly about this topic, before you confirm your name, you want to make sure that you can actually find a domain name. Okay, we're getting a little ahead, but you're gonna need a website somehow, right? So see if you can find a domain name for your podcast. Okay, now couple of things: do not buy .info domain, don't buy .co domain. Try to see if you can aim for .com, if not .net, if not .io. I don't like .org too much, but I'm pretty sure you'll find .com or .net. Most likely you'll find .com if your podcast name is pretty unique, pretty wacky. Make sure that it's a name that people can let's say for example, let me go ahead and put this. Let's say for example, you're on you're at a social gathering and someone said, hey, what's your podcast called? And if you have to tell people that your podcast is called Gaire podcast, I'm like, how do you pronounce that, right? Right? So make sure that it's when you pronounce it, people can actually, hey, I know how to spell that, right? For example, our podcast is Beyond the Knowledge. We have others in Pod Valley. So those are easy to pronounce. Make sure your podcast is easy to pronounce as well. A lot of people, what they do while naming their podcast is they include their name somehow on the podcast. And is that okay? That's perfectly fine. For example, I know this lady. Her podcast is Therese Good with Good Things with Teresa G, I think, and she's doing a great job. She's using her name and she's making herself popular. Is that a problem? No, it's not. If you think you can do it, go right ahead. That's not a problem. But just make sure that when someone says what's your podcast, you shouldn't have to spell it out for them. Just make sure that, okay? Now, microphone. Now, a lot of wannabe podcasts and wannabe podcast gurus will tell you, hey, you got to fork $300 to $400 on a microphone. Do you? Should you? Not really, and you shouldn't when you're starting out. Okay. Now, to be really, really honest, I recommend you guys buy a mic, but if you're low, your budget is very, very low, and then to be honest, just use your normal you know iPhone's microphone, or for example, me right here, I'm on a MacBook Pro, right? I'm right now, I'm actually outside in a cafe. I'm not using any external mics at this point. I'm just using my computer mic and I sound pretty good here. So sometimes if you want to use that as well, but if you do want to spend some money, go to Amazon and search for USB mics. USB mics right here. And you're going to find really cool ones, really nice ones. Pretty much any of these will be fine. What is my favorite? This is the blue snowball. This is a very popular one. It is very good. Okay, it is very good. It's only $50. Now, if you are asking me what I would buy, if you were under a budget, it's called Blue Yeti. They start off, you don't need to get this one, okay? Get the one that's like 120 something, 129. Okay, this is perfectly fine. 129. You will love this mic. You will love this mic. I use this mic for my webinar, my podcast. It's portable. You can take it anywhere you want. If you want to make it even more portable, there's others too. Well, if you want to be super portable, just use your normal, iPhone's mic or your computer mic. That's fine, okay? But if you want to have a crystal sound, very nice crisp sound, I do recommend you using some sort of mic. And Yeti, I mean the Blue Snowball, this is good, and this is second right here. So $50, 129. Which one should you spend money in? If you have the budget, get the Blue Yeti. I highly recommend it. I've used it for over 5-6 years. Perfectly, I love it. Okay. Now, you got your microphone, okay? Now, recording software. Now, again, people will tell you buy Adobe Audition, buy, I think there's Heidenberg. please stop. Okay, please, when people tell you that, just shake your head and just be like, okay, okay, okay. Don't argue with them because they'll drag you down there along with them. Here's what I want you to do. Okay, if you have Windows, get an Audacity. If you have Mac, get GarageBand. Now let me go back. Both of these softwares are free. They will do the basic editing, they will do basic everything for you. Which one is my favorite? Of course, GarageBand is my favorite. Take a look at this. It looks professional. It's pretty good. You can record things, you can get things done. I love it, and we use it often for our podcast. What often? We use it all the time for our podcast. I'm an Apple fan, so I use GarageBand all the time. It is the best. Okay, and it's free. Hey, now, Audacity, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I have used it pretty much to tell you that it is very good. Okay. Now there are other softwares that you can find on Google for free as well, but please don't spend a buck on recording and editing software. Now, this software is basically going to allow you to record it, edit, cut audio out, and put them in the right places. Now, cover art and jingle. Now, what is a cover art? Now, whenever someone searches for your podcast on Spotify, Google Music, or iTunes, and so on, it's gonna have some sort of icon, right? Now, that's called cover art. Now, take a look at these. I'm adding some examples here. Now, keep in mind that the image size has to be between 1400 by 1400 pixels to up to 3000. Now you cannot go under 1400 by 1400, you cannot go above. Now why is that? These are rules and specification set by iTunes, and Google also takes look, uses it as well, and so do other distributors like Spotify, Stitchers, and a lot of other companies as well. Now you're thinking, I don't know how to make a cover art, Satish. What do I do? I'll tell you what you do. Okay, what you need to do is head over to Fiverr. Now, if you know how to do it, hey, be my guest. Okay, use Photoshop, build it yourself. Now, if you don't have money, even $5, take a really good picture and just resize it to the right size and just upload it. Or use if you're really in money strapped, you want to start a podcast. Here's what I would do. Open a Word document, type up your podcast name, take a bigger screenshot, make sure it's a good size, and just use it. To be honest, if you're that, now for Fiverr, you can find cheap stuff. So for example, just go here and do you can do podcast covers. Just search it up here. Take a look at this. So this lady right here will do a podcast for $5, $15, $10. It can be as expensive as you want, as cheap as you want. Take a look at this. For $10, this lady is gonna draw a podcasting thing for you. It's pretty. Oh, I cannot plug in, but you get the idea, right? Now that's that. Now, number two is jingle. What is a jingle? Like, for example, whenever a show starts, it's nice to have some sort of jingle. For example, beyond the knowledge. You can do that. Okay, that's up to you. Now, what I do personally, to be honest, I feel like my voice is good enough. And so I recorded a jingle. So it's just like, hey, so each time I say, welcome to Beyond the Knowledge episode, how to grow your leads, something like that. You can do it yourself, but it's good to have some sort of small jingle. And same thing, go back to Fiverr, search a podcast jingle, you will find it. Okay, this is the only thing that might take some time, because it takes people a couple days to get it back to you, but usually I get people get back to me in like a couple days. So now when we do create podcasts for our clients, we want to save money, so we just use Fiverr. It's fast, easy, professional people do it. Love it. Okay, so you need those things. Now lastly, you need something called podcast hosting. Now, what is a podcast hosting? It is not a web host, it is not cPanel, it is not FTP, it is not WordPress. Okay, just keep those things in mind. Podcast hosting basically means that a company will host your audio file and help you become compatible with iTunes. Well, at least I'll come back to that, because a lot of podcast hosting companies, they don't update themselves. For example, iTunes, Google, they release new things each every 6 7 months. For example, iPhone X came out, iTunes said, "Hey, add this feature." A lot of hosting companies, like for example, SoundCloud is like the worst podcasting hosting that there has ever been. Okay, just I never talk bad about anybody else, but SoundCloud is like really bad. Okay, they're a big company, but it's their side hustle. So please don't use SoundCloud. Okay, what I've done for you guys, I've done our research for you, and we have actually compiled three top companies that I think you guys are gonna love. Okay, number one is Podmeo, number two is Buzzsprout, and number three is Libsyn. Okay, now let's go ahead and go through each of these really quickly. I'm gonna go open up Podmeo. I'm gonna close that out. Now, Podmeo, what I like about Podmeo is a couple of things. Well, it has the basic stuff like unlimited host, unlimited space. Everything is unlimited. You can also go ahead and have multiple multiple podcasts, so you don't have to create multiple accounts for multiple podcasts. They give you WordPress plugins. You can embed your player. You can have interchangeable ads. Now, I like this one. This is my favorite feature, is because, for example, with podcasts, let's say, someone decides to sponsor you, right? And you put their advertisement on your MP3 using your GarageBand. Now, after a year, that advertisement is still right. It's no longer relevant. So what do? You have to download it. You have to edit it, upload it. With Podmeo, you click and you can change your advertisement on your podcast, your audio advertisement. They give you a website. They also allow you to capture leads. Now, keep in mind, guys, that your subscribers for your podcast, they're as good as if you have their information, they're your subscribers. If you're not capturing, they're capturing their name, email information. Hey, how are you going to get in touch with them, right? Autoresponder basically allows you to send out mass emails, for example, promoting your new episodes, new products, whatever you want. Podmeo also allows you to accept payments, because you can take tips or some sort of payment. You can do recurring payment. A lot of people use. There's a company called it's called Patreon. A lot of people use it, but keep in mind they take away almost your 15% of your revenue. So, and Podmeo doesn't take anything. So you get all of that in your bank account. Podmeo has a nice analytics, best RSS feed. They have they're compatible with any CDN network. For example, whatever your audio you uploaded to Podmeo, they can make a copy of that audio and put it in like China, India, Australia, everywhere. Okay, schedule a podcast or shall share. Okay, there is a demo. See, I love this. I love how you can capture leads. This as well. And let's see. So Podmeo is running. If you go to their main website, it's running for $47 per month, which is pretty expensive. But we went to podmeo.com/limited. Okay, we went to podmeo.com/limited, and it's actually just $19. And we got this from Podmeo, and it's a pretty good deal. So you can have unlimited shows, unlimited features. There's no contract, nothing like that. Pretty good. Okay, let's take a look at Buzzsprout. Okay, that's our second one. Buzzsprout is pretty good as well. Their price is $12. Okay, just keep one thing in mind. Okay, so Podmeo will host. I'm just gonna compare with everyone here. Okay, all the top three. Podmeo will host your audio file forever. If you get their free one, but it's 90 days. That sucks. Okay, if you get their lowest plan, $12, it's only 3 hours of audio. Keep that in mind. Okay, 3 hours of audio. That's nothing. Okay, and they're gonna charge you $4 extra per hour. Now, to be honest, I'd rather go with Podmeo because they let me host unlimited hours, unlimited everything, and on top of that, right here, let me go here. On top of that, I can host, I can have as many channels, meaning as many podcasts as I want. With them, if you want a new podcast, you got to create another account and pay another $12 that you're going to run out of. Okay. Now, everything else about, okay, one more thing I don't like about Buzzsprout is that they, cap you on, your file quality. So you got to pay $6 extra each month if you want the highest quality. Let's go here. Take a look at this. Podmeo offers that for, for free. It's included. We don't even, they don't even make it a big deal because it's included. Okay, as you can see, they actually offer 320 kbps. That's pretty good. So your quality is going to be great. So when people listen to your podcast on a car, which one's going to sound better? Podmeo, because they give you uncapped. Everything else, it's a pretty easy software. Just keep in mind that that's all they do. They will allow you to upload a podcast, and that's pretty much it. You can of course put it on iTunes, like any about that. Those are pretty much same with both companies. They both allow you to put it on iTunes, Google Play, all those things, all these distribution. It's the same thing with Buzzsprout, so they're good there as well. Buzzsprout also allows you to import your existing podcast if you have one already. Podmeo does as well. Now let's take a look at Libsyn. Now, a lot of people think that Libsyn is the best podcast hosting. I mean, to be really, really honest, here's the problem. Here's the problem I have, and here's the reason I put it on number. It made the number top number three. They are good. Okay, they are good at what they do. The problem I have is that everything is outdated. Okay, even their actual system is outdated. There's not much information on their website. Like I said, whenever an Apple releases a new tag, it takes them like 6-7 months. Buzzsprout is pretty good. Podme is pretty good about it as well. Usually a week is that's what they take, and sometimes even earlier is that. Libsyn takes a long time. Let's take a look at their pricing. Feature wise, the nothing fancy, nothing new. So, and they do let you start off with $5, but think about it. Your one podcast is going to be at least, if you're planning to do 5 minutes of audio. Well, to be honest, guys, even if it's not enough. Okay, $5. This is stupid to plan. Now 250 MB. I don't know about that, because if you're doing a quality podcast, it needs to be unlimited. Okay, let's take a look at. I forgot their pricing. I want to go take a look at their pricing. Let's see. Okay, so right here, as you can see, I'm just comparing everyone else. Okay, so 50 to 250 MB. That's gonna be roughly, if you want to do good 1.5 hour podcast a month. Okay, so this is not good. This is getting expensive, as you can see. So if you're gonna become the Mughal, and if you're gonna do a lot of great podcasts, you're gonna be paying a lot of money. And here's another problem I have with Libsyn. Okay, why the hell would you want to charge people more for the stats? Okay, they want to charge you more money just so that they can have good stats. Podmeo and both Buzzsprout, they both do a good job on this. Okay, they are not limiting you on this and that. They're not going to nickel and dime you. Okay. Uh, what else? Okay, additional 200 MB. It's $10 extra per month, as you said. Um, and to be honest, there's nothing new on there. It's very outdated. The reason I had to put it on top number three is because they've been around for a long time. That's the only thing. Okay, and there's a problem with that, because they've been around for a long time and they don't want to change. Okay, we're in 2018. Their system is running in like 2015 or 14. Pretty old. Buzzsprout, they do an update every I've seen them do an upgrade every 30 60 days. Same thing with Podmeo. So about updates and about modern, I really recommend both Podmeo and Buzzsprout. The reason Podmeo makes it to the top of the list is because take a look at this, okay? Interchangeable ads. They have the plugin as well. Libsyn has a WordPress plugin. Buzzsprout does not. Podmeo does, okay? Podmeo has the interchangeable ads, starter website, autoresponder, capture leads, and accept payments. And Podmeo's analytics is very advanced. They actually, I saw it somewhere here. Let's see. Their analytics is actually verified by IBM and Amazon for accuracy. So if your sponsor is looking for good information, you're gonna get it from here as well. Buzzsprout is not bad with analytics. Like I said, they give you everything. Unlike Libsyn here, they want to charge you more money for simply just analytics. That's not good in my opinion. Let's take a look, and that's pretty much it. So our Podmeo is the winner. In terms of the features, it's only $19 per month. You can have as many of those. Buzzsprout is second, like I said. The only bad thing about this is that they only do podcast. They don't have any other features. They don't have WordPress plugin. The price is it's not too great. Same thing with Libsyn. So when I looked at pricing, right, I'd rather pay $19 and get everything unlimited than having to worry about this. Especially these guys here. Okay, so that's that. And take a look at their website. It's outdated. The last time they updated it, it was very long time ago. And I want to be with company that is going to be doing a lot of update support with all the features. So Podmeo is the winner. You can get their $19 per month deal from podmeo.com/limited. The reason Podmeo's front end page shows you $47 per month is because I think they are targeted for big producers. But I spoke to an agent. They actually have, oh, forgot to tell you about this, support. Podmeo offers live, you can leave a message here on their daytime. Take a look. You can actually call a phone number. So I would rather work with people who I can just call up and ask a question. I've never had to. I want to if I need to. Okay, so I love their support. You can see their demos here. Like I said, Podmeo is the number one. Go to podmeo.com/limited. Okay, if you go to .com, you're gonna give you a higher price. I spoke to Podmeo guys. They said this deal is up and good. It's good, they said I can go ahead and tell everybody about it. They're not gonna get rid of it. I'm not making any money, guys. Just being honest with you. I found it on their advertisement, so yeah, check them out. Anybody have any other questions about creating a podcast? Anything of what I talked about so far? And also, one of the things I like something here. I'm gonna get our podcasting expert Nikesh if he has anything to add. I've been doing podcasting for a long time, but Nikesh, he's a veteran. He's been on it from 2005. So he is he's not pretty good. He's very good. He's a veteran. So like I said, I consider myself good, but I'm not the best. But whenever I need an advice from anybody, for podcasting, he's the guy I go to because he's been doing it since 2005. That's when iPods came out. Am I right, Nikesh?
Yeah.
So anything you want to add up? I know. What are your thoughts? And I know, Nikesh, you actually got me to introduce me to Podmeo.
Yeah.
What do you think about what are your expert comments you want to give people out?
Yeah, guys. I mean, I was with Libsyn for a really long time. Like Satish said, it's been around for so long. So I was with them, but the problem with Libsyn is that, again, like he said, it's really outdated. We're in 2018, but it looks like they're operating still in like the 1990s or something. So I switched over to Podmeo, and some of the features that I really loved and why it got me to switch over was one, like he said, analytics. It was so good on here. I can see exactly where people are listening to my podcast from, what country, what devices, and all those stuff. And it really helps you, kind of format your podcast. And then the second thing, like he said, those interactive ads. So before I had to edit the ad into my podcast, and let's say that company dropped me from their sponsorship or anything, then I'd have to go find that file, re-edit it, delete the ad. But now with Podmeo, I can just add the ad through Podmeo, and let's say that company drops me, I can turn it off, and then I don't have to go back and edit and waste that time.
And Nikesh, we have a question from here from the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say his name, but he says Lipson has been around for a long time. Doesn't that give them some credit?
Just because something's been around for a long time doesn't mean that they're always good. I choose companies that are willing to update, willing to change with time, not just someone that's been here forever.
And I agree. And one of the things I found out about Lipson is that it's a one man company, and
Yeah.
I know and I've seen the founder in one of the podcasting conferences I attended a long time ago. Nice guy, nothing bad about him, but Lipson, that's the biggest problem. A lot of people have complained is that it's not updating correctly. Now, I know Nikesh mentioned Podmeo's analytics. I actually have Podmeo, of course. I want to show you their analytics.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It might. I'm on a webinar, so things are not slow, guys.
Yeah, it runs a little slow.
When I'm doing the thing, okay. So let's take a look at this. So it tells you, your global, your podcast information, where your things are coming in from, downloads, returning users, new, gives you your best podcast. Like for example, my best one has been this one right here. I can see which device, like this, browser, countries, new versus so this is the global. One of the things I like about Podme is they actually give you, analytics not only on your entire podcast, but also based on your episode. Let's take a look at this. I can click on it and take a look at this. I can find out exactly where I'm getting the hits from. Yeah. So that's Podmeo. Anything else you want to? And let's see if anybody else have any other questions. Let's see. Yeah, there will be a replay. Okay, Nikesh.
Yes.
So someone here has one more question. They said, okay, they are a SoundCloud podcast. SoundCloud. What do you have? I don't like SoundCloud, to be honest. What are your?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, guys, go ahead. Like, don't try to go the cheap route, trying to sign up for a free SoundCloud thing, because at the end of the day, this is your podcast. You want to control it, and having it on SoundCloud, you're not going to be able to control it. You're not going to be able to have your own ads. Not gonna. It's not easy to tell people, hey, find me on all platforms, because again, SoundCloud controls so much of what goes out and what comes in. So
Yeah,
I would say, if you're really serious about this podcast thing, get a podcast hosting company. Don't go the SoundCloud route.
Here's what I tell people, okay? Get any podcast hosting. I'm not even going to tell you to get this or that, but don't get
Yeah,
SoundCloud because the issue is it's their side hustle, and their main customers are, music producers, music, rappers, and so
exactly.
on. And they're trying to make extra money by doing it as a podcasters.
Yeah.
For
Your
example,
focus is not in podcasting.
right. For example, one of the things what's it called, SoundCloud has not been able to add in such a long time is this. Let me show it to you. So recently, well, not recently, it's been almost 2 years. Apple added this feature where you can add season, episode, and episode type. It's been 2 years, and SoundCloud still hasn't added it. And that is a problem. That is a problem. Podmeo came out with it like this. Buzzsprout wasn't on like this. I like Buzzsprout. They're a good company. It's just that I get more bang for my buck right here. That's good. Um,
Exactly.
Lipson, it took them 6 7 months. They do have it. It's not like they don't have it. They do have it. It took them 6 7 months, and they made they I don't want to say they screwed up people's podcast when doing it. So be careful with this company. It is good. Okay, it is not bad. It is not a bad company, but I'm just comparing these three.
Yeah.
I had to put it on top number three because it is good. It is not bad. It's just that just make things easier and update things. Okay. So any other questions or anything you want to add on, Nikesh, for people?
Yeah, one last thing I want to add on. Again, kind of talking about Podmeo and what it kind of separates and why I kind of switched over was that, other hosting sites, all they do is kind of host your podcast for you. Podmeo, you can use it to advertise your podcast. Use it to share, use it to grow
Monetization.
because
Monetization.
exactly. And you can capture leads, you can build your website, you can auto respond, meaning, you can send mass
Yeah,
emails.
schedule it. Yeah,
Exactly.
and as a podcaster, a lot of podcasters. I don't want to. I'm not trying to be mean, but a lot of podcasters, they are not making a penny, and that's because
Yeah.
their host doesn't encourage it. They don't know what to do. They have no route. Here with Podmeo, I'm capturing. I actually have people's email that I can send the email out and sell a product, do things right, and I
Yeah.
can accept payments. I can sell things. I can put my advertisement, do pop-up advertisement, so much. So monetization is a big factor. If you want to make money from your podcast, start at the right place. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys use a limited one if you do guys get it. Like I said, guys, we don't make any commission. It's just a link right there. Buzzsprout is second and Lipson is third. Let's see, is there if anyone else have any other question?
We just really love Podmeo.
Yeah, I mean, see, I used to host with initially long time ago. I used to host with Buzzsprout. Then I went to Libsyn. Then I found sorry, I was with Libsyn. Then I went to Buzzsprout. Then I found Podmeo, and
Yeah.
these guys are great. These guys are great. Any other question? Looks like we are good. Anything else you want to add, Nikesh, or are you good?
Yeah, I'm good right now.
Perfect. And I want to thank Nikesh for actually coming on to the session. Like I said, he is a veteran. He's better than me. Like I said, he has been doing it for since 2005. That's more than 10 years. More than 10 years. I haven't done this for 10 years. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys, got the basics and go ahead and get started with your podcast. Thank you so much and have a great evening, night, morning, whatever you want to do. Thank you so much. Hey, one more thing. I forgot. We have before I forget, we have a podcast group I told you earlier that you can join if you like. It's called Pod Valley. If you search it on, go to Facebook and search Pod Valley. You'll find it, okay? Join this one. It's a great group to be on. And we talk about podcasting all the time. You're going to love it, okay? That's it, guys. Thank you so much and have a beautiful whatever. Thank you so much.